Welcome to Tech Closeup. I'm Mark Albertson.
And I'm Christina King, and we are on Main Street, USA.
Well, Main Street as in the Children's Discovery Museum here in San Jose, California.
So much fun for the kids here. You walk in here and it's obvious that technology appeals to people of all ages.
Young and old alike, technology, hey, that's what Tech Closeup is all about.
In this month's program,
we're going to see how a playoff team in the NBA uses technology in ways you probably could never have imagined. And we're going to make tracks to the Maker Fair, where home hobbyists are cooking up some interesting new ideas. And we'll visit a Silicon Valley firm that's reshaping how we view sports on television.
All of this, plus the king of consumer electronics himself, our very own Rob Enderle.
All coming up in this month's Tech Closeup.
Okay, this is another low-tech exhibit here at the Children's Discovery Museum using tennis balls. And you get quite a workout doing this. It's pretty fun. Tennis makes me think of sports. You know, one of the most interesting stories of the year in the sports world involves the stunning upset of the Golden State Warriors over the top-ranked Dallas Mavericks. What does that have to do with technology, you ask? Well, plenty. And it all starts with the Warriors' radio voice of Tim Roy.
Sacramento at home. Harrington hits the three.
In the fast-paced game of professional basketball, the Golden State Warriors have emerged as one of the most exciting teams in the league. The Warriors made it to the NBA playoffs for the first time in 12 years. They rocked the sports world by beating the top-ranked Dallas Mavericks.
People are so caught up in Warriors mania, Warriors playoff mania right now, that the more information that we can give them, I think that's what they're crying for. That's what they need. That's what we want to give them. And there's no degree that we won't go to give them every piece of information we have available to us.
And presiding over the craziness from his spot above the basketball floor at the Oracle Arena is longtime radio voice of the Warriors, Tim Roy.
Tim Roy is one of the few play-by-play men that don't have a partner. He's like kind of the old school. He does it by himself.
A veteran basketball announcer, Tim has been the Warriors' play-by-play man for over a decade, and he grew up with a deep interest in sports and technology.
I was the kid in seventh grade who would hide the transistor underneath the pillow and listen to games late at night when I was supposed to be sleeping.
What many fans who listen to Tim and the play-by-play broadcasts may not realize is that he depends on a variety of high-tech tools to make the basketball action come alive.
With all the broadcasts that I've worked with, and I've worked with Oakland Raiders, I've worked with the San Francisco 49ers, I've worked with all the college teams here, this is far and away the most technology-savvy broadcast.
What we like to do is use technology to our advantage. If we can get a soundbite off a FTP site from, say, the Miami Heat, and we can use it in our broadcast, we'll go ahead and do that.
In every game, sound bites from interviews with players and coaches are preloaded onto laptop computers and are easily called up by a technician supporting Tim during the game.
We used to use an analog phone system where you'd get an overnight board operator at a radio station saying 3, 2, 1 and feeding highlights, and now that's so yesterday.
It allows us to do more. We're able to get more elements into our broadcast because we can get sound and interviews and highlights from so many different places that, whereas before, that would have taken 5 phone calls and hopefully a really good phone line to make that happen.
Text messaging plays an important role as information can be easily accessed and relayed while the game is in progress.
RC had heard me talking about the fact that a player on Minnesota was one of the better players ever to come out of Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. So he did a quick, Google search, and instantly I had, via instant messaging, I had a list of players who had played at Mississippi who had gone on to play in the NBA, and I was able to take that list and incorporate it into the broadcast within a matter of seconds.
As technology moves forward, I don't see any reason why radio wouldn't try to keep pace.
The availability of file sharing and high-speed internet connections are transforming how Tim and the Warriors prep for broadcasts, especially during those long road trips away from the Warriors' home arena.
It saves me time because in the old days, give you a case in point, we do a weekly show on the Warriors and the NBA. In the old days when we would travel with a team, I'd have to find a studio, a radio station, an open studio, maybe an engineer, hire that engineer for an afternoon and spend 4 or 5 hours at the station just to do one 1-hour show. Now, secret be told, I can do a good chunk of that show in my hotel room, and it cuts down on the amount of time I have to spend actually doing the show.
What radio listeners don't know because they can't see is that Tim actually surfs the internet while he's broadcasting the games.
You're able to do a quick search off Google or something like that. My producer does a lot more of those because obviously I have to keep my eye on the play. But we're able to do that, and via using instant messaging or text messaging in some places, we're able to communicate and maybe add that little extra nugget of information that kind of ties up what we're talking about into a nice little bow.
The Warriors' use of technology in broadcasts has placed them in the upper ranks of Bay Area sports teams and is getting noticed around the NBA.
And I think that as other teams begin to become aware that this is happening, and I know that they are, because I'm working with them, they become interested, and maybe will be something that the NBA, that will be seen throughout the NBA.
Nobody does what the Warriors do. Nobody does it to the degree that the Warriors do it. Going back 20 years, 10 years with the Raiders, with the A's, with the Giants, other teams, yes, their information flow, their information access is better. It's not where the Warriors are today. The Warriors have made leaps and bounds beyond what anybody else is doing.
So the next time you listen to a radio broadcast of the Golden State Warriors, remember that the information you're hearing is probably only a mouse click away.
Okay, this is one of my favorite, low-tech exhibits at the Children's Discovery Museum.
I wouldn't expect anything
Watch
less
this.
of you.
Okay, watch this. My hand, my other hand. I could make a hobby out of this. Just do this all day.
Talking about hobbies, folks at Make Magazine, once a year they hold a conference for people who like to make hobbies with technology. And recently they organized one here in California. And guess who was there? If there was ever any doubt that we're a nation of inventors, well, then you need look no further than the second annual Maker Faire.
The heritage of the United States is we're makers. Benjamin Franklin is on the $100 bill, not a president. Guy who liked to make things. And so the DNA that's in all of us, I think, is to build stuff.
For 2 days in San Mateo, California, inventors from around the country met to showcase the unusual, the innovative, and the just plain weird.
I think that's a big part of why this event is good and why people like it. It's really here for fun, and making things is a lot of fun.
I think almost everything here is unusual. I know that when we first got here, my daughters tried out this. It's like a big hamster wheel, and you get inside and you have to run on the wheel in order to generate energy to get this huge sculpture to pick its nose. It's called the Disgusting Spectacle. So that's very unusual.
Maker Faire is the brainchild of the editors for Make Magazine and their sister publication, Craft.
Make's purpose is to take this information that people have created and present it in a really nice format with step-by-step instructions and clear photographs so that everybody can join in on the fun.
It all started in 2006 as a new way for home hobbyists to demonstrate their creative tinkering. Well, in just 1 year, the show has attracted over 40,000 attendees.
Last year we had about 20,000. By all indications, this year we're going to have 40,000 people attending, which is great. And I think it's not only a sign of the magazine becoming more popular, but people waking up to the idea that making things is a lot of fun. It's a great way to spend your free time.
Fairgoers were treated to dueling Tesla coils, a bicycle-driven merry-go-round, and the wisdom of Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak.
And then it grew into logic gates, the AND gates and the OR gates and the NOT gates.
Not sure what you'll find at a fair like this? Well, how about drums that play themselves? Or maybe a diode-driven snake.
The processor on the front here generates a sine wave. And the motion of the sine wave is what propels it forward.
Well, at the Maker Faire, even the plants aren't exactly what they seem.
And then there's a sensor on here which I can change the mode. Day job, I'm an electronics engineer. I build very big power supplies for universities. And so I never get away from electronics. I go home on the weekend and I start working on these things.
And then there's an enterprising team with an unusual company name, the Evil Mad Scientists.
Evil Mad Scientist Laboratories is a very fancy name for my kitchen.
Well, these mad scientists have quite a sweet tooth. They've actually figured out a way to print three-dimensional desserts on their very own Candy Fab 4000.
We think this is something that's going to bring 3D printing not just to people's kitchens, but to people in general, to the world, and make it really something much more accessible.
With an eye towards the future, one creative inventor developed technology that uses a giant CO2 tank and pressure valves all linked to a computer that pours drinks on command. Welcome to the automated bartender.
Then I click the pour and it'll pour straight out.
Well, we just could not resist asking, what led somebody to spend hours of their time creating a device just to pour a few drinks?
I'm 25. I know how to do two things, party and code. So I already built a dance floor. Next logical step is an automated bartender.
Not everything at the fair is mechanical. Dan Fernandez is with a Microsoft venture called Popfly. He's created new software that lets users combine a variety of applications, such as importing satellite images without writing any code.
And I can see exactly where on Route 1 this picture was taken. So it lets me create interactive applications with no code.
With all the hype and hoopla surrounding the Maker Faire, there's still a spirit of camaraderie and childlike enthusiasm that's hard to miss when a group of bright inventors get together.
I think there's always been makers, but now there's a place for them all to kind of connect.
And who knows, that crazy gadget that drew crowds at this year's fair just might lead to new technology advances that will change the world.
Hey, do you know what the technical term broadcast storm means?
I don't.
Do you want to find out?
Sure.
Okay, can you stick around until we come right back?
Pants, pants, pants. I am folding the pants. The pants are long. Do they go on my head? Do they? Do the pants go on my head? No. They go on.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
Global warming. Some say irreversible consequences are 30 years away. 30 years? That won't affect me.
Do you know what the technical term broadcast storm means?
A broadcast storm is what happens before the network melts down.
Has your network ever melted down?
My networks never melt down.
That's why you look so great.
I thought it was the new makeup.
As simple as crossing the street. I mean, that's technology at work. You don't even realize it, but it is. And it's high tech too. I'm here with Steve Tornallier at the Children's Discovery Museum of San Jose, California, talking about streetlights. You're the director of exhibits. This is a pretty important exhibit.
Right, and what it does, it shows kids and our visitors that out on the street, those silver boxes that you see, there's technology behind it.
I see these everywhere.
So here it is. Behind it, there's a glass door, and there's this very sophisticated computer system that controls the traffic lights, the signals, and the walkways that allows traffic and pedestrians to cross the signal at each intersection.
And so this is how city officials will help synchronize lights during times of the day that are possibly busier or less busy?
Right, so basically it works on a time cycle with a time clock, so when there's less traffic, the lights go slower. When there's more traffic, the lights happen to change quicker. It keeps the traffic flowing a lot smoother, all inside that silver box that you see by the side of the streets.
Now, let's go over here because I think this is a nice exhibit to help kids learn about how it works at a more simple level. Can you explain this device?
What this is a simple thing. It's called a logic gate, and then each traffic light that you see, it has a very simple computer in it. It basically tells when someone presses a crosswalk sign, it tells the computer, okay, go from green to yellow to red. Stop the cars, turn the light on so that I can walk. So this is representing what happens inside of that computer, a simple thing called a logic gate. So it teaches kids that behind traffic lights that you see on the streets is a computer program, a very simple little computer program. So kids can mimic that by moving these and changing them around to change the different types of logic gates.
That's fascinating to me. This is a little more sophisticated of an exhibit. You know what I love about this is that it's all real. It's not for show. You push the button and it works. I mean, I see all the cables strung across. It's the real thing.
It's the real thing. Like when children and their parents come here, they learn about safety, they learn about technology. We saw hidden technology. The lights that you see here and the lamps that you see here and the street lights are exactly what's outside. You'll come here in a given day, you'll see kids and their moms crossing the street.
And they obey the traffic light, right?
Right,
That's
exactly.
the whole point of it.
Yes.
The city of San Jose donated all of this, didn't they?
Yes, they donated everything, and also the hardware, the installation to put it in, the labor, and all the lamps, everything.
Wow, and it's all for the safety of our families. And you know, one thing that I love about this exhibit is it's so simple. It's right when you walk in the door here. It's one of the first things that they encounter. And it's, I think, one of the most important.
Right, and it always brings people back to the crossroads and to our little Main Street exhibit.
Exactly. Well, Steve, we appreciate you taking time to show us the museum. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is Tech Bites.
This makeshift road doesn't look much like a football field, but I'm sure if you watched a football game on TV, you've seen a yellow line. They put one on TV that tells you how many yards the players have left for a first down. Did you ever wonder how they put that line on the screen? We wanted to find out too. So come on, join us for a tour at Sport Vision. The big question in sports is, how do they do that? How do they draw that first down line? How do they track so many race cars all going so fast? Or how do they map the arc of a curveball?
The problems are hard. That's really our own fault. You know, we kind of push the edge of the technology all the time.
At Silicon Valley's Sport Vision, brainy engineers build the hardware and software that makes TV sports go so high-tech.
The broadcasters will pretty often come to us and say, you know, we have trouble telling this story. We'd like to be able to do something better.
That's why NASCAR came to Sport Vision for a better way to help fans follow their favorite racers. And that's not easy to do.
And I think the biggest challenge is that you're trying to track cars that are going upwards of 200 miles an hour to an accuracy of 2 centimeters.
So NASCAR let Sport Vision fit cars with tiny transmitters. They send out data about each car's speed and condition. The signals let computers build a real-time animated race, so fans can log onto a website and follow their favorite driver right to the finish line.
The user is the director of their own broadcast. So unlike television, I can change cars. I can go and I can watch Junior, and now I'm watching Junior. I'm getting all of Junior's stats and seeing where he is on the screen. And again, I can watch him from multiple angles. You cannot do that with television.
So you're getting an almost instantaneous animated display of the real thing.
That's right. Within seconds, we're digitally recording the real race, and we're rendering it onto a computer along with all the stats you see.
Our agreement with NASCAR says that in order to be a qualified car for the race, it has to have our tracking gear in it. We've done horse racing, where we actually put tracking devices on jockeys.
Sport Vision changes how TV covers almost all sports. Imagine baseball without a high-tech strike zone.
We use 2 different cameras, one set up on the third baseline, one on the first baseline, to triangulate the location of the baseball and to pick up the baseball as it's coming through the air. For the broadcaster, they want to give the viewer as much information as possible. A lot of baseball purists, you know, they just love more stats, more information. How fast was that pitch? How much did it break? Was it a strike? Was it a ball? Was the umpire correct or wrong in making the call?
But it was just a few years ago when football helped kick off one of SportVision's first big changes.
Right, you're standing on the yellow first down line. That would be at the 27-yard line.
On a pretend football field inside its center, SportVision tunes up its famous yellow line that marks the distance to a first down. There it is.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, it's a smart computer. It knows what my shoe is.
It's magic.
Yeah. Well, here's the magic. More than 24 special computer systems, each custom designed for a pro football stadium.
Every week, we have 25 systems in 25 locations all over the country, properly staffed and with the right equipment, and it starts all over every Monday.
The science for video magic is complex, but in concept, it's pretty simple. Each computer uses pictures from several cameras to map out precise field position. It then paints the yellow line in the right place. The line only paints on green, as in green grass. The line skips anything else. So there's an illusion that I'm walking on the line, but I'm actually not. And actually, you can almost see the break there. Thing is, cameras can move. So unless crews keep them fixed on the right mark, the computer may just draw the line in the wrong place.
If we get it wrong, the producer says, "You're killing me, man! Get that line off!" but we try not to have that happen.
Technology is not perfect, but I think without proper human interaction, training our operators, to the full extent, they can help make the technology better.
Fact is, if TV covers the sport, chances are it covers it with high-tech video.
We've done a lot for the Olympics. Those are kind of one-off projects. So we put virtual flags in the ice so you could tell which skater was in which lane.
We're constantly thinking of new ways and new ideas that, whether it be TV, cell phone, online, broadcast, that we can expand our offerings and hopefully make it more compelling to the viewer at home.
So, as SportVision techs up sports, there'll be more reasons to ask, how'd they do that?
I want to find out what a beta bug is.
It's dealing with software?
Yes.
Okay, it's a bug, it's the beta release of the code.
Wow! Okay, can I put it in more simpler terms?
It's an error in the code in the initial release that's not really intended for customers to use. It's for just some limited number of customers to try the product out.
You and I haven't shaken hands yet.
We've never chatted at a party. Our kids play different sports.
But I can honestly say, without ever having met you,
I'll help save your life.
When you help the American Red Cross, you help America.
Don't walk. Don't walk. Walk. Do not enter. Hot dogs. Definitely like hot dogs. Motorcycle club. Everything must go. Ghostly ghouls. Don't look at that, Teddy. Body piercing. Ouch.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
Do you think that everyone in the world should know what a beta bug is?
No, users should not be using betas. Betas are bad things.
You gotta love the great outdoors. It's so fun to just take a hike or take a walk, especially go camping, except when you're me and you get lost a lot. That's why I've got my trusty global positioning system. This is really helpful, but the problem is there are so many of these on the market. How do you know which one to buy? You know who we're here to ask, Rob Enderle. We're actually outside of his home right now to talk about which one of these devices. You've got two in your pocket.
That's right, I'm not really this well endowed.
And I've got one here. But I was just thinking, the sun is so bright today. Can we go in your house for a minute and you can show us these? We can see the screen a lot better.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go. First, what's in this pocket?
This pocket, you had to ask. This is the Delphi. Delphi is the company that makes navigation systems for General Motors cars, among other things, and so this has a very automotive look and feel to it. It also has a number of features. For instance, you can navigate, you can play music, you can watch movie AVI files only, you can put pictures on it, you've got a calculator, you've got a world clock, and it's even got some games you can play on as well.
Well, I like that.
The key is being able to navigate. It's got a touch screen to put you in navigation mode, and that'll load the navigator. It works kind of like an automotive navigation system. So the kind of thing that you get on the car, if you're used to that, this is going to look very familiar to you because it's the same kind of navigation system that you would have on your car. It asks you the same things. It says, by the way, if you're driving, be aware of the fact that you might actually have an accident if you're playing with the navigation system while you're driving.
FYI.
So it's got your typical settings up front, and then you can drop the navigation, does turn by turn, and also gives you a bird's eye view. Now, bird's eye view means you're kind of looking off over the horizon. It's kind of cool, and you can see the turns coming up as you get to them, and it moves you through the process. So it's not a bad system. It's about $260, and once again, it's mostly focused on folks that have gotten used to a car navigation system, and they like that interface. The next one is the TomTom One, and you're holding that right now. You notice it's small, it's sexy, and we're already into the navigation screen.
I like this one.
It's very nice. Now, this doesn't do the movies, it doesn't do the games, it doesn't do the pictures, it just does navigation.
Okay, well that's what I wanted for. I've got an iPod, I've got, you know.
And for everybody else, it's simple, it's smaller. You notice it's smaller, it's very svelte. There are no extra features. It's just easy and it's very intuitive. Now, TomTom is not done like a car navigation system. It is actually easier to use. I don't know about you, but sometimes,
for me.
yeah, well, that's kind of it. It's car companies don't necessarily get the easy way to do navigation. TomTom's been doing this for years, and so it's much more intuitive. This is also about $260. So for those folks that have never done navigation before, but still want a low-cost, really nice navigation product that you can use in and outside the car, this is the one for them. Okay, so now the next one is kind of the king of the products. This is about twice the price. This is about $500.
Oh my goodness.
This is the HP RX 9000. The thing about this that makes it kind of cool is first, it uses the same software as the TomTom does.
I was just saying that looks awfully familiar.
It does, and it also does all the things the other product does with regard to movies, music, and the rest, and...
Oh, so it combines the two.
Combines, and it actually syncs up with your computer so you can put your appointments on here so it can actually remind you of your appointments as well.
While you're out in the jungle.
Yeah, that's right. If you're out in the middle of the jungle, it says, by the way, you're actually supposed to be having dinner with your wife at this particular point in time, so you might as well stay out in the jungle because you're going to be in a lot of... Don't come home. So it's actually smaller and svelter in terms of thickness than any of the other two. You notice when it was in my pocket, you could hardly tell it was in my pocket, which is kind of nice.
It's very thin, very sleek.
Yeah, so it's very nice, and so the features are pretty straightforward. It's got buttons on the front that take you through the feature set.
This is awesome. Now this I like a lot. I like it. This is my favorite.
This will do wide area network. So this likes to connect to, if you got to a Wi-Fi hotspot, this will connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot. You can bring up a browser, you can browse the web. So this is really the richest of the products.
Thank you, Rob, for keeping us up to date on GPS and helping us figure out where we are.
My pleasure.
Tech Closeup is all over Northern California now, including right here in San Jose and in San Francisco.
And if you want to find out where Tech Closeup airs in your area, just check your Comcast cable listing.
And don't forget, techcloseup.com.
That's right, and thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Albertson.
And I'm Christina King, and if you want to stay tuned in to the technology that's driving this world we live in...
Well, join us next time for another edition of Tech Closeup.
Ooh, the light's red. We can't go yet.
No, well, we'll go in a moment,
all
okay?
Right.
Bye-bye. Here we go.